have improved dramatically in my lifetime. Those who deny it are dishonoring the struggles that helped us achieve that progress.
That was President Obama, and with us now is Megan Hughes, ABC News correspondent from the White House. Good morning, Megan.
Good morning. Glad to be with you.
Good to be here. So tell us about what's going on in the White House. What is the White House focusing on today?
Well, yesterday we heard you could hear the palpable emotion from the president, a very emotional speech. Today we're really getting into more of the nuts and bolts of how to move forward, what can be done when it comes to communities relating to their police departments. So there's going to be a conversation including civil rights activists, law enforcement, academics, mayors, all coming together for this meeting that the president will be convening this afternoon at the White House. Looking a little bit at the administration's task force on 21st century policing, some of the recommendations that were made that maybe aren't being picked up, and really just trying to talk about how specifically we can improve some of the communications between the African American community and law enforcement.
Is this something that the press is invited to, Megan?
This is, I'm not exactly sure what the pool situation is, but I can tell you that the White House is certainly furthering their messaging. There's going to be a town hall tomorrow that ABC and ESPN will be hosting. That'll be 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be bringing together a lot of those similar shareholders, the officers, community members who have been impacted for a town hall type situation that the president will be participating in as well.
I know that a few years ago, President Obama said that it maybe wasn't particularly, for lack of a better word, useful to talk about race in America, but now, given what has been going on in the past several weeks, it's something that is needed. I know that he met with law enforcement earlier this week. So what are police saying who are meeting with the president? What are their main concerns?
Well, I think there has been a concern or a perception maybe that the president was stoking some of the concerns, that he wasn't necessarily on their side. And I think from the speech yesterday, I think we've seen, at least from some of the police officers that we've been hearing from, that perception is shifting a little bit. Number one, they were very heartened that the president earlier this week at that event with police officers earlier this week that was convened by the vice president here at the White House, the president said if this shooter in Dallas had lived, they would have considered this a hate crime because he was specifically going after white officers. And I think that was something that they did want to hear. And I think some of the messaging that we heard in the president's speech yesterday towards people not realizing how difficult this job is, and the president spoke directly to protesters, saying, the reality in some of these communities and some of the risks that these officers are taking. And you need to keep that in mind. And, he also admitted that his words have been inadequate to stop the violence. So right now it's really he's trying to get ideas from the police department, which I think is also probably, many of them would say, a step in the right direction.
There are many sides to what's going on in the nation today. What is the feeling? Is the president striking a correct balance between those various conflicting groups?
I'm sure everyone has their own opinion, and there would be some that don't think that would be the case. I do think that yesterday's memorial was certainly a show of unity and the bipartisanship that we've seen, just hearing from former President George W. Bush and hearing from the president, both speaking, very, very similar messages of unity and the unity of hope and not the unity of fear. The president also talking about the unity of grief and the fact that you can simultaneously grieve Alton Sterling and Philando Castile. He spoke to their families on his way to Dallas, on the flight to Dallas, and then also grieved these 5 officers who were killed, who he spoke about each one of them individually yesterday.
And do we know any more about the kind of the substance of the town hall meeting that'll be broadcast by ABC News and anchored by David Muir? What should we expect coming out of that?
So the theme is the president and the people, race in America, and the president will be having this town hall. And I think it is evidence of the White House really trying to seize this moment and turn this into something positive, some concrete actions. So for the town hall, we're going to be hearing from officers, parents, students, families who have been directly affected by the violence in Baton Rouge, Minneapolis, and Dallas.
Very good. Thank you, Megan Hughes, ABC News correspondent from the White House. Appreciate all the information.
Thank you.